Welcome to Petrohead Simracing Widowmaker Series, Round 5 here at Hockenheimring, located in Baden-Württemberg, Germany. I'm Adam Stewart, your host, and qualifying is just finished, and...
Surprise, surprise, surprise!
We have Henrik Andreasen grabbing the pole again. Then we have John Spriggs outside of row 1. In row 2, we have Timo Konecki and Andy Darnell. In row 3, Jan Janschik and Jorge Prieto. And in row 4, we have Matty Renault and Andreas Sieg. Folks, we got a good one for you today. We're here at a track that is a rarity in the racing world, that it is almost perfectly flat. No banked or off-camber turns. No hills to climb or descend. That's not to say the track doesn't have any challenges. On the contrary, instead, it has fast straights, followed by very tight turns. Hairpin turns and switchback turns that tend to unsettle the car. Let's not forget the sausage curves. You hit one of those wrong and you can flip your car over, ending your race. Let's take a ride around the course with Andy Darnell and get a first-hand look at this track. We join him coming down the front straight leading into turn 1. For this turn, you need to start braking just past the 150 board. Start your turn at the end of the blue and white curb on the left and back on the throttle as soon as you hit the inside curb. Heading into turns 2, 3, and 4, you want to start backing down just before the 150 board. Trail braking right to the apex, and then back to the throttle early. Gently now, you don't want to have this Widowmaker to bite you. It's super important to get these corners correct to set up this long straight towards the first hairpin, turn 6. This is where most overtakes will happen. This is also one of the hardest braking places to judge where you're braking, since you have to brake so early in these cars. You want to take this corner nice and tight, and don't come out too far as the track limits are very tight here. Turn 7 is a slight lift off the throttle, and maybe a slight tap of the brakes to help with rotation, setting you up for turn 8, which is a hard left-hander. Start braking as soon as the car is pointed straight. Here you want a super late apex and hug the left, setting up to turn 11. A mid-speed right-hander. Now don't go too wide here because the wall on the left is closer than it appears. Another mid-speed turner is next, turn 12. Turn 13 is a second hairpin we encounter. You want to brake around the 70 to 80 meters out, depending on the speed you're carrying. Turns 14 and 15 kind of flow with a slight lift of the throttle, setting you up for double apex to the right in turn 16. Now you want to take the second half of this corner with a late apex, getting on the throttle prior to the apex, but don't go too wide here. Getting off track can slow you down and allow someone on your inside. And that is a lap around Hockenheimring. Now last week, we saw a change in the leaderboard, with Andy Darnell taking over as the points leader. We also saw John Spriggs show some serious speed, taking his first win of the series. We watched Henrik Andreasen struggle for the first time, and we saw Timo Konecki have a lack of pace. Here you can see there's only a 3-point difference between Timo Konecki and Andy Darnell for the lead of this series. Now would be a good time for you to hit that like button. It's free and you know you want to. Subscribe and hit that bell if you want to see more. And if you have any questions, good or bad, be sure to leave them below. I would love to hear what you all are thinking about the racing so far. And if you're interested in joining Petrohead Sim Racing and participating in some of these races, the link to the Discord is in the description below. So grab some snacks and a drink, get comfortable, as the drivers are testing their last-minute changes. We are just moments away from the start of this race. Warm-up is done, tech inspections are being completed, cars are hitting the grid, and I am so excited. The individual points battle is packed full like a jelly donut. With only 2 weeks left, who will win this championship? Cars are all on the grid, and we have a couple of late joiners in Marco Tricolo and Samuel Oliveira. Samuel has returned to the track today for the first time since round 1, race 1, which he actually finished first. Okay, drivers, round 5, race 1 is about to begin here at Hockenheimring's. Reach up there one last time, pull those belts tight.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, drivers!
And they're off, and look at Matty Renault jumping from 7th all the way up to 4th, before even turn 1. What a start. On the opposite side of that is Hendrik Andreasen, who went from 1st all the way down to 6th. And they're coming out of turn 1, looks like everybody's clean. And John Spriggs is already putting pressure onto Andy Darnell. John is trying to say, hey, I'm here for a championship as well, guys. Don't leave me out of this. I won last week. I'm here to take this home. Look at it, putting a move on Andy already, going down the inside, down this long straight into the first hairpin in turn 6. They're going in side by side, and it looks like John is going to go around the outside.
Round the outside, round the outside.
Oh, and around goes Jan. Gets it back going straight. Matty Renault's dropped a couple positions, slowing down to make sure he didn't hit him. Looks like Andy Darnell made that pass hard for John, but John still got it done. Let's come around to finish. Coming down the back side here, going into the stadium sections, going into turn 13, 12. Oh, Marco Tricolo slid off track there. Timo's trying to make sure he can get back online here. Didn't have the greatest week last week. He just seemed to be a little bit off pace, but he is back on it today. Trying to get around Matty. Hendrick seems to have recovered. He's back up to 3rd position. Turn 2, we see Jan taking over for Jorge, taking back that 6th position. Timo still riding on the backside of Matty, trying to get a little draft here. He's going to duck to the inside. Oh, it looks like Matty hit those brakes late. He sure did. Look at how wide he is. Carry a little extra speed on this outside, but I don't think it's going to be long before Timo gets around him. You can do these corners too wide pretty easily, but in these cars, someone's going to be slowing down. Just don't have the grip with these cars. Timo and Matty still side by side. Coming out of turn 10, heading into turn 11. We see Samuel Oliveira putting some pressure onto Andreas C. Looking the inside, now looking to the outside. Samuel Oliveira going around the outside.
Round the outside, round the outside.
Timo's still trying to find a way to get around Matty Renault. Down into turn 1. Here we see Hendrick going past Andy Darnell. As he head into turn 2. Getting ready to go down that big, long straight. Andy's probably just trying to hold on to a draft right now. We all know that Hendrick can be very fast. John seems to have jumped out there to a decent lead of 1.3 seconds. Not impossible to overcome this early in the race, though. And around goes Jan Jančík. Let's take a look at the replay and see what happened. As we join Jan coming down this straight He's got to go. Oh, look, he's got a little bit slidey there. His wheels are going back and forth. Look at his hands working it. He just lost it. He broke really late. That's what caused that spin. And Timo has finally got all the way around Matty. Matty's not giving it up easy, though. He's going to still put some pressure back on Timo. A little bit wide there. Didn't hurt him, though. So nose to tail coming down, heading into turn number 11. Don't hit the wall. Heading into Sachs, which is our left-hander, U-turn. Now we find Henrik Andreasen has tracked down John Spriggs. He's only 0.6 behind him. And we have a fight for the lead. What do you think, chat? Do you think Henrik is going to win this one? Looks like he's got his car back together this week. He's not sliding all over like he was last week. Hopefully it's going to be a nice and calm race for him. John has definitely flexed his muscles this last two races from last week and then this race today. He's definitely saying, I'm someone to compete with. You need to contend with me all the way through this rest of this series. I'm coming for a championship. John gets a little bit wide there, a little late on his brakes. Hendrick goes by. One little mistake is all it takes. Now it's Hendrick's turn to be out front and see what the pressure's like out front on this Hockenheimring track. John not giving him away, just saying, I'm staying right here. Coming through this second hairpin. Heading back up towards the finish off this double right hand turn 16. As they make the second half of that turn, they're heading down the front straight, back towards the front start finish line. Finish lap number 4. Starting lap number 5 here. Hendrick is out in front. Seems to me like these cars are pretty evenly matched. Seems which turn is who's going to be every turn. Every time I think that Hendrick is going to stretch it out, John tends to take that next turn much better and catch right back up. Nose to tail coming down into turn number 6. See, Hendrick definitely went through that section much faster than John did. Stretched it out to about a 0.7, which John just closes right back in on him. A little wide on that turn. It's the best race on the course now, John is starting to lose some ground to Hendrick. Hendrick's starting to flex his muscle here, saying, you guys all know I'm fastest. I'm going to take off and leave y'all behind. But I don't mean to have any commentators curse, but we have seen Hendricks have a hard week last week, and many times he's been out in the lead and give it all back. letting people catch right back up to him. Samuel Oliveira must be out of practice. He's not doing too bad. He's gained a few positions, but you can see his car's all over the place. The time off has definitely not been super kind to him. Right in front of him is Jorge Prieto. Although he's driving the same livery as John Spriggs, he is not his teammate. Timo Konecki is his teammate. Andreas Sieg and Marco Trocol are going back and forth. Looks like Andreas Sieg is going to come out on top of that battle. Samuel has caught Jorge. He is going to put as much pressure on him as he can to try to get around him. And you can see he's pushing. That car was totally sideways. Jorge goes a little wide. Sam takes advantage and says, I'll take that inside line and just leave you right here. That's position number 4 for Sam. Sam's got quite the road ahead of him. He's got 10 seconds to try to make up on Jan Jančík. Here we find back up in front, John Spriggs, still trying to chase down Hendrick. He has made up a little bit of that time that he had lost, but not much. Half a second. This is the section where Hendrick seems to be strongest. As much as it looks like John catches up, it is in the braking area, so the cars tend to Constantine back and forth. Marco looking on the inside of Andreas. Going through here too wide is not the bravest, not the greatest idea, but it worked. Should be happy that Andreas left him the room. Spriggs closes back up on Hendrick. Very similar lines. Hendrick seems to be going a little bit wider than John is. Using just a little bit more of that track. And around goes Sam, full 360, back on the throttle. And he'll actually keep that position. Well done, Sam, well done. Doesn't bode well for you catching Young, though. You're not going to be catching up with doing those kind of moves. And John has closed back up on Hendrick again. Does he have anything for him, though? The concentration in those eyes. They are focused, both of them. Sam starting to struggle. Having some issues. Ended up letting Jorge get back past him there. Sam's not done yet, though. He's still pushing hard, trying to get back to him. He wants that other position back. 5 minutes left, he can get at least one of these positions. He wasn't here for qualifying, but he was able to jump in the race and get started. Made up 3 of those positions. As you can see, he is our biggest mover. Our biggest losers being tied between Andreas Sieg and Andreas Ebert. Sam is hanging it out there. And around goes Marco Tricolo after that fight he had with Andreas Sieg for so long. Sam putting all kinds of pressure onto Mr. Preto. Struggling. You better be careful. We know this is the Widowmaker. He's been pushing it hard. He's going to try it on the inside here. He got to run. Back up front, Hendrick is stretching out his legs again, back up to a second lead. Jorge Preto with a little bit of squirreliness there. And here you can see Hendrick has stretched it out even more. Jan telling Samuel, you're not the only one who can spin around 360s. He hit the wall hard there. That front end's going to be dragging. We've seen that multiple times in races in the past. The front end doesn't look too bad. Yeah, it's got a little hitch in it. A little hitch in his giddy up. No sooner did Hendrick stretch out the lead than John catches back up. And again, Jan Jenchi goes around. Now he's got Samuel Oliveira, who had a 10-second deficit right on the backside of Jan. Now we know Jan's not slow, but he's definitely had problems with this Widowmaker jumping out and biting him. We also know that Sam is fast. He won that first year. The only race he entered before, he won. So for him, he wants to get by Jan and say, hey, look, I made it all the way to top 6 in this race. That's 5 positions. John and Hendrick, no change in the front, still just driving around. Andy Darnell and Timo Konecny in 3rd and 4th, respectively. So what do you think, chat? Do you think John is going to make a last-second ditch at him? Samuel Oliveira did get around Jan, so we'll see if he can hold that. We've seen him do 360s for apparently no reason at all. John has caught Hendrick again, trying to get out of this turn, get that good draft down that long straight. Heading into the hairpin. He pulls out. And Samuel Oliveira gives up 2 positions in that little sliding half spin. John really late on the brakes. How he held that, I don't know. Did he get a little help by tapping Hendrick? It almost looks like he did, but I did not see it. But he is right on the rear end, 0.1 behind him. Not a passing zone here. This is not a great place to try it. You go wide, you're out in that sand trap, and it is almost impossible to get out of it. John is filling Hendrick's mirrors. Ducking to the inside. Last turn coming down to the finish here. And John looking to the inside. He's off track just a bit. Not going to be in hand of it. Having to hit his brakes. He went off track. Got a slowdown penalty right at the end. Oh, and Samuel Oliveira goes around again. This track and car combo has not been nice to him. The time away. He must not have been practicing. Here we find a position fight for 10th. I'm sorry, that's 9th with Andreas Ebert and Marco Tricolo. And around goes Jorge Prieto, letting Samuel Oliveira go by him again. This is the thing about this series. It doesn't matter your speed. You're going to find somebody to fight with. And around goes Ebert. Just totally was late on the brakes. Hit the wall hard. See if he can get that going before Andreas Sieg gets to him. Jorge Prieto kicking himself for spinning on that last turn. Oh, and look at Sam goes around. He's going to block. Another great finish. Look at this. Right to the line. They're side by side. He's going for it. And he got him on the last 100 feet. He got past him. That's two great finishes in this race, folks. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Hit that like button. What do you think, chat? Is that a great finish from all these drivers? Still got the Andreas fight coming to the line here. Heading into the last turn, turn 16. Not much of a fight. Andreas Sieg limping it home. At least the car's intact this time. It's not all damaged and broke. And here's your finishing order with Andreas in finishing first. John Spriggs in second. Andy Darnell followed by Konechny. Matty Renault followed by Jan Janci. And then Prieto and Oliveira, Tricolo, Ebert, and Sieg round out the field. As we get ready for race 2, I want to remind everybody that the top 5 finishers from race 1 are inverted. So position number 1 will now be position number 5, and reverse of that, position number 5 will now be position number 1. With that being said, we've seen many races where Andy Darnell has a start from the gods. We've seen him do it in the first race. Will he do it in the second race? Let's take a look and let's get this party started. Okay, folks, it's time for you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Race 2 is about to get underway. All the cars have passed inspection. They're all out on the track, and we're just waiting for the lights to go green.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, drivers!
And they are on the loud pedal and off. And again, Andy Darnell jumps right to the front. John Spriggs right behind him. Timo Konechny and Hendrik Andreasen right there. And around goes Andreas Sieg right off the bat. No harm, no foul. Didn't touch anything. He's back and running. And here we have Andy Darnell and John Spriggs going at it. John trying to get it back around him again. It's only lap 1, so they got some time. I think it's a little bit stretched out here. Coming down this long straight, heading towards the hairpin. All nice, neat, and orderly. No argy-bargy anywhere. Samuel Oliveira, our biggest mover. He's up into 5th. He's probably trying to remind these guys that, hey, I won the first race. I know I've been gone, but don't you count me out. Hendrick looking on the inside of Timo. Timo uses the outside momentum to keep him behind him and get back past that quick pass that was there. Hendrick now looking on the inside again. Timo going to try to use that speed on the outside to keep him behind him. Timo and Hendrick still side by side, going through these last 13 and 14, 15, heading into turn 16 to finish off this first lap. Right now, Andy Darnell and John Spriggs are happy to see those guys fighting. They say, the longer you guys fight back there, the more we can get away. And that's what they're doing, is they put 1.5 seconds in between them and the folks behind them. And that was Timo off track there. Letting Hendrick go by. It's not what he really wanted to do, but it is what happened. Sam taking a look inside of Timo, not really in a position to do anything. John putting some pressure onto Andy. If you do this too much, it's going to let... Oh, we have an accident. Let's take a look and see what happened there. Here we can see him coming down this front straight, going towards turn 6, and he's really late on those brakes. He's all kinds of out of control. And he hits Marco right from behind. Nothing he did on purpose. He was just late on the brakes. He's getting ready to get going. But you can see he's going to let Marco go. He knows he hit him. It was his fault. And back to the live action. We find Andy Darnell still holding onto the lead with John Spriggs right behind him. Although they have been fighting, which is allowing Hendrick to catch up. Hopefully, this doesn't turn into a three-way battle, but it looks like it's going to. Heading down into turns number 12, 13, 14. John Spriggs still hot on the tail of Danny. John taking a look to the inside here. He had a little bit of a run coming out of turn 1, heading down here into turn number 2. They are side by side. Looks like John's going to try to go around the outside and get a run. He is successful. He's pulling down to the inside there. As they're heading into turn number 6, you can see that Hendrick is going to help his teammate. Almost went 3 wide, decided against it. And John finds himself on the outside again. Going through the hairpin. And he holds on to that position. They are 3 wide going into turn 7. Hendrick backs out again. Timo back there flashes lights, trying to make Hendrick look in his mirrors. Don't pay attention to the front, trying to help his teammate. And he's late on the brakes. He's going to hold it. He does count to the inside. A little nudging over there, a little hargy-bargy. Oh, and look at John bouncing off of Hendrick now. And they are nose to tail, the top 4. The 2 teams fighting for the championship, they are all together. Timo still trying to get Hendrick confused. Get him distracted, flashes lights. Showing him his nose, filling his mirrors. Andy on the inside, John on the outside, going through turns 13 and 14. Heading down towards the start-finish line, ending up this turn number 16. coming around. John on the inside, Andy on the outside, leaving each other room. They are nose to tail. Here they go, folks. Coming across start-finish line to finish lap 2. They are nose to tail, 3 wide. Look at this. John backs out early. He's going to try to get the undercut in. Look at this. He is going. Andy had to go wide to not hit his teammate. Timo's taking advantage of it as well. He is going up into second. They are all together, folks. This is awesome. Andy did not fare well in that exchange. He ended up last place of that, went from first to fourth. Hendrick comes out in second. John Spriggs in first, and Timo Konecki in third. What a race, folks. They have spread out, but this is not over. That was some mayhem in the making, and they handled it like pros. The 4 of them went through. I can't believe 3 wide at the first start-finish line. And they're all still nose to tail. You could throw a blanket over all 4 cars. Hendrick putting all kinds of pressure on John, trying to get around him. John's going to cover the inside here. Hendrick looked to the inside, but just was trying to fill the mirrors. John looked like he left him some space, got a little worried, but recovered nicely. Looking for that quick out of turn 1. He kept the curb there, as I talked about earlier, that sausage curb. You can see how much it upset the car. He barely touched it and it threw the car up. He's going for the undercut like John did to him earlier. Looks like he's got that run cutting down to the inside. So heading down towards turn 6. John has the inside, Hendrick on the outside. Hendrick does have the overspeed on him and is going to make that turn completely his as he heads into turn 6. What a race we have here. Look at John already diving back to the inside, reminding Hendrick, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to stay. John continuing to flex his ability to drive on these cars. This is not an easy car to drive. You can see he is like not putting a tire out of place. And the 2 of them are starting to put a little bit of space between them and Timo. And Timo's putting just a little bit of space between him and Andy. But the front 2 still nose to tail. Half a second apart, just back and forth. Dueling like a couple of fencers. And it goes wide. John is on it. He's down the inside. He is going. And back into the lead goes John Spriggs. Hendrick had made a small mistake there. John pounced like a cat in waiting. And now we're right back at it. Hendrick looking at John saying, okay, I made a mistake, got by me, but here I come again. Let's do it. Oliveira and Matty Renault having their own little battle back there. Back up front, we find John and Hendrick. Still nose to tail, 0.1 second apart again. John covering off the inside. Hendrick taking a look coming out of turn 10 there. Going through turn 11, he's just holding on to that spot, trying to keep it in grasp. That car in front of him, John, is not easy to pass. You see all kinds of sparks flying out of Andreas Ebert's car there. Looks like he's got some smoke coming out the engine. He's obviously under speed there. Hendrick taking a look at the inside. John's going to push him way down to the inside. Get those tires dirty. And we have a spin. Let's take a look and see what happened there. As they head into turn 12, you can see that Samuel gets loose and Matty just has nowhere to go. Back up front, we find John still leading Hendrick by just half a second. Timo dropped back a second, and Andy Darnell a second behind that. So these front two are still going at it as we are reaching the just past the halfway mark. With 8 minutes left to go, John and Hendrick are having another battle. John pulls over knowing that Hendrick's going to use the draft and a little bit of that overspeed. Going to try to make him use the outside of this turn. John holds it this time. Definitely keep it. Oh, and Hendrick has gone around. Oh my goodness, Hendrick. He waits for his teammate to get by before he gets going again. And he just lost it. And Timo is saying, congratulations, my partner. We are in the lead, the two of us. This is definitely going to shake things up. Hendrick was in 4th place in points coming into here. Won that first race. I'm sure he wants to win. He wants to get up into this battle for the championship. John has definitely established himself as someone to be reckoned with. These 4 guys are going to be so close in points. I cannot wait to see where they're at when it comes to the end of this. Samuel goes around again. He is struggling. Having a hard time keeping this car under him today. You can see how sideways he gets every time he goes through a corner. Hendrick looks like he's doing the exact same thing. And he lets him get by knowing he's that much faster than him, hoping he's going to get up there and give their team some points. The changes that Andy made to his car in between the 2 races has definitely not helped him. On the other hand, you got Timo, who made changes during the split between race 1 and race 2 and has obviously done much, much better. He's hanging closer to the front this round. Jorge trying to put some pressure on Sam. It's the closest battle on the track right now. And of course, we got Andreas Ebert with that front end missing. He must have hit that wall darn hard to be taking the whole bumper off. Now, if he hit the back end that hard, he wouldn't be driving. He'd break that engine so quick. With the motor being positioned in the rear of these vehicles, anytime you hit the rear, you have a chance of hurting that engine. Of course, that also makes it so as you drive through a race, the front end gets lighter as you use more of the fuel, making it want to understeer that much more. So a good setup, making it so it doesn't oversteer at the beginning of the race, but not too much, that is, and not understeer too much at the end of the race. That is what this setup is all about. You need to get that good. Hendrick has caught Mr. Timo and is putting some pressure on him. Right now, I'm sure John is hoping and praying that Timo's going to hold up Hendrick long enough for him to take this race. There's only 4 minutes left. Hendrick's going to have to put on a show here to get by him. A little hargy-bargy going on. Timo definitely saying, I didn't want you to go by. Hendrick got by anyways. Jorge goes by Samuel. These guys are driving fast and furious now. Pushing on the loud pedal as much as possible. Samuel trying to come back on Jorge. Look at Samuel hanging it out there. He almost spun it again. Got a little bit of that curve, which may have helped him. Sam's just drifting it around the track. Calm down, Sam. You can get him. Just slow down. Relax. Got just under 3 minutes left, and Mr. Hendrick is trying his darndest to catch up to John. John is putting in the laps of his life. He had 2.4 seconds back at the 4-minute mark, and he's still got 2.2 at this point. Both John and Hendrick are just driving away from Timo and Darnell. And around goes Sam. Another almost full 360. Every time I see Marco Troccola's name, I think of Taken. Marco Troccolo. Matty Renault. Throttle to the down as much as possible. He's trying to catch up to Jorge Treito. He sees a top 5 within his reach. Marco and Andreas going at it. This is for 8th place. Marco has it. Andreas Siegs wants it. Up front, you can see the timer. Hendrick has just under a second now. He's got 1 minute to catch him, pass him, get to the finish. And around goes Sam again. Sam, you're not having a good day here. Back up front with John Spriggs and Hendrick Andreasen. They're still 1 and 2. This is last lap. They just started their last lap around the board. Here they come. Hendrick is going to finish in second. Matty Renault still seeing that top 5 right in front of him. Doesn't want to over push this though. Otherwise you end up like Samuel, spinning it around. I'm almost thinking Sam's just having some fun now. And he DNFs. Matty Renault crossing the line in 6th, doing a little antics. Coming around to finish not too far behind was going to be Andreas C. Coming through turn 11 now. Heading down into our second hairpin, turn 12. Back to 13 and 14, nice little back and forth. Making the last turn, 16. Coming around that last corner. Only other driver on the track right now is going to be Andreas Ebert, which is just shortly behind these guys. As we speak about him, here he is coming through the same set of corners, coming up to turn 16 to finish off his lap. Probably none too soon for him. And that is going to be it. Chat, let's hear what you have to say about that race. Those was 2 really good races. That was awesome. Here's our final standings. John Spriggs in first, Hendrik Andreasen in second, Timo Konecny in third, Andy Darnell fourth. We got Jorge Prieto in fifth with Matty Renault in sixth, Marco Tricola in seventh, Andreas Sieg and Andreas Ebert in 8th and 9th. Samuel Oliveira and Jan Jančić did not qualify or did not finish. That is your final 10. Let's take a look at the points and see where we are standing now. And here are the points, folks. As you can see, Andy Darnell holds on to first place by a mere 3 points. So there's been no change between him and Timo. But John has all of a sudden put himself in the mix, only 4 points behind, putting himself in first place. Hendrick has dropped back just a little bit down. He is 18 points behind first place. We have Matty Renault in 5th, Christian Kubovic in 6th, Samuel Oliveira in 7th, Mario Gaspar in 8th, and Thomas Ribeiro in 9th, along with Vic Vager, and that rounds out your top 10. A quick look at the points standings for the teams. You can see that Timo Konecny and John Spriggs are still on top, with Andy Darnell and Hendrik Andreasen in second. That's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And until next time, keep the pedal to the metal and stay cool like the other side of the pillow.